Hello everyone, a new Stygian Onslaught is out and I'm not going to do introductions, we're just going to head into it, jump right into it. We got the Wolf right off the bat. For this, I would recommend using Sucrose. She shreds the shield super fast. Now if you notice over here, do skill, charge attack, single attacks, just in normal succession because all these three skills have different internal cooldowns, so they can independently trigger swirl. And you want to trigger Pyro Swirl because that is the best way to effectively destroy their shield. But Electro also works if you're want to play off Flynn's team. For my clear, I chose Nicole, Citlali and Mavuika. Mavuika and Citlali, the two of them are a massively strong combo, but if you don't have Mavuika, if you don't have Citlali, you can probably go with your well-invested Arlecchino or any other Pyro DPS, or maybe if you're running Flynn's, you have Flynn's over there. You can replace Nicole with Bennett. I chose Nicole because my Bennett is level 20 because I don't play him, and my Nicole is C0R1, so I'm going to use the hell out of her. She is amazing. But after that, Sucrose should be holding VV because you get the resistance shred, and I think that's basically it. Whenever the shield forms, you want to use Sucrose's skill, normal attack, charge attack, just do it in succession, these three together, and that shield will just just get destroyed immediately. It will melt away, and once it's melted, once the wolf is lying on the ground, it gets a heavily reduced resistance. It has something like minus 60% resistance to everything except Anemo. So you really want your Pyro DPS or your Electro DPS. Despite being a Varka shield boss, that minus 20% Anemo resistance is kind of weird because this boss resists Anemo and Varka is Anemo, so I have no idea. But maybe a C0R1, maybe a C1R1 Varka could possibly do it. I tried my C0R0 Varka and I had probably 25-30% HP left every time, so I just kind of said screw it. And yesterday Varka was in the exalted ones. Today when I did it, Varka is not there, so I have no idea what's going on over here. But still, Mavuika easily clears it. Obviously this is a very high-end clear, but I am attempting Fearless. So if you're attempting Fearless, you definitely should be having some sort of heavy investment. And if you notice me, my skill levels are low because I need to make it up somehow with having C0R1. So I keep my skill levels low. I don't max them out, crown anything. Nobody's level 10. Max is Mavuika level 8, Citlali level 8. That's it. I don't go above level 8. So you could also raise your talent levels and then get more damage because that obviously works. Now for the second one, the Tulpa. The Tulpa is the easiest Stygian boss ever. Now, the game tells you to use Pyro, but I said screw that. Use Dendro. Dendro, Hyper Bloom, Electro Charge, whatever you want to do, it works. This dude has a permanent Hydro aura, so you can have 3 Dendro, 4 Dendro, whatever you want to do, and you're just going to see Bloom cores pop up here and there, here and there. I used Baizhu for my healer because you really want a healer in this stage. But if you don't want to use Baizhu, if you don't have Baizhu, Yao Yao is free. You probably have Yao Yao from the multiple lantern rides that we've had in the past, or you have Kirara. Those two work. Lauma is a great great addition to this entire team because she does Lunar Bloom damage. She really buffs everybody. And Nahida because she's the core of this clear. Nilou, if you have Nilou, you can obviously use her to generate Nilou Bloom cores, which deal more Dendro damage, more Bloom core damage. But if you don't have her, you could obviously use, what should I say, electro units, like Kuki Shinobu, or if you have Aino and you have Lauma, you can just slot in Aino, keep Lauma, keep your healer, keep Nahida, and you have access to Ascendant Gleam, which gives you more damage, more Dendro damage, and Lauma and Nahida could also easily handle it because you have the Ascendant Gleam buff. So overall, this boss is very easy, and this is very versatile. This is a very versatile boss. You have access to Vape, so if you want to go with your Pyro teams, that could work. If you want to go with Zibai, she could work because that's permanent Lunar Crystallize. And you could also go with Electro Charge without the need of having a Columbina or a Nino, because Flynn's and Ineffa They automatically activate Ascendant Gleam, and you do not need to worry about the Hydro Aura. They're automatically triggering Lunar Charge. So this boss, the Hydro Tulpa, is the most versatile boss in Stygian Onslaught this time. And he is very easy to clear. You just need to keep track of all the mini Tulpas that he is generating. And as soon as you see them, just rush to them, go defeat them. If you miss one of them, this big Tulpa will regenerate some portion of his HP, and it's going to be a pain. You know, it's going to be a real pain. So it's fine, like, you know, you can easily do it. Dendro is the way to go, my personal experience. And also on Fearless, this dude generates a shield. So you really need to have front-loaded pyro damage or electro damage. Otherwise, the Bloom Cores handle it. Like, I've played through the Tulpa multiple times, and the Bloom Cores easily handle them. So obviously, pretty easy boss. Now for this, I have C1R1 Nilou, C1R0 Baizhu, C0R0 Lauma, and C0R1 Nahida. But I think I'm pretty sure that you don't need their weapons, because, you know, all of these characters have really good free-to-play options, especially with the Docker sword that you got in Fontaine for Nilou. So I think it's not really that necessary. Like, this boss is probably one, like I said, it's probably the most accessible and easy boss in the Stygian Onslaught version. Now coming to the final one, which is this, I have no idea what's it called, the monitor or whatever, the fake space Asmodee, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, the angel and all. What you want over here is two elements that it can react with. So it's got to be PHECs. It's got to be either Pyro, Hydro, Electro, Cryo. I chose Zibai teams because, you know, Zibai with Ineffa, because you need to have an Electro and an Hydro Aura. So I chose Columbina as my buffer and Ineffa to apply Electro. Now obviously the game mentions and tells you that, you know, it's a melt shield, it's a vaporized shield, but I said, like, you know, screw it, because the crystals that it generates, it is, like, you know, immune. It is immune to one part of your damage. So if you're like playing Mavuika with only Pyro and Hydro, and if both your crystals, like one of your crystals get Hydro and one of your crystals get Pyro, and your main DPS is Pyro, you will not be able to destroy that crystal. So over here I chose Zibai because, you know, she is amazing. She does neutral damage to all the elements, and Columbina and Ineffa trigger the, what should I say, the crystals, and Columbina buffs everybody. It is a very interesting strat. You could also use Lunar Bloom teams, like, you know, if you have a decently invested or a well invested Neffa, you could easily clear it with that also. Like, you know, you could just go in with Columbina, Ineffa, Neffer, and then, you know, maybe keep another Dendro unit. And the crystals, the monitor or whatever this angel is called, will absorb Hydro and Electro, and Dendro destroys all of them really well. So, like I said, it depends on the investments, but it is an easy boss. Like, this boss is not difficult. You have very versatile team comps, and you just need two different elements and one neutral element that can destroy everybody. That's it. That is my belief from this entire Stygian Onslaught. And you would see my builds over here as well. Zibai, C1R0, Columbina C0R1, Ineffa C0R1, and Linnea C0R0. Like I said, it's fearless difficulty. You need to have some sort of investment into this. I compensate my weapons and all with lower skill talents, but if you have higher skill talents, that will obviously work. So that was my experience with the Stygian Onslaught. I hope you, like, you know, enjoyed the tips that I could provide, like my experiences, because these are my experiences, and I feel like, you know, other players might be able to do them. But if you don't want to do fearless, there's no need to do it. You can stick with menacing. Menacing is basically Spiral Abyss 12.5, or you could just stick with hard, get your primo gems, and, you know, pop off. So with that being said, thanks for watching, and how did your clears go? And please subscribe to support me, and obviously have a great day. I'll see you later. Goodbye.